When users are able to log into the front end of a Joomla site, there is an account management screen you can give them access to. In this movie, we will create a link to the screen and go over the settings front-end users can adjust. Let's go to the main menu in the back end. We're going to add a link to this menu so that front-end users can adjust their settings. Let's click New. From this list, select User. From this list, there are several views you can choose. The one we want to use is User Form Layout. We're going to title this link, Change Your Details. If we publish this link as is, this link would appear in the front end of the website. Everyone would be able to see it. This might confuse users who are not logged into the system. Let's hide this from visitors who don't have a login. Scroll down. We're going to set the access level for this link to registered. Only people who are registered on the website will be able to see this link. Scroll back up to the top and hit Save. Let's go back to the front end of the website now. Click Refresh. You'll notice that the link we just added does not appear in the menu. This is because we're not logged in. Let's log in as Jim Callahan. We added Jim as a user in the system in the previous video. Now that we've logged in, you'll notice there's a Change Your Details link. This is the link we just added in the back end. Click it. There are several details on this form that we can change. We can change the name, the email, and we can also change our password. We can also change the user interface language that Joomla uses when displaying elements. Currently, English is the only selection. We'll learn more about adding more languages in another chapter. We can also change our time zone. However, we cannot change the username. Let's change Jim to James and then click Save. It now shows that Jim's details have been saved. His name is now changed to James Callahan. When you create a link to the user form layout, your users can set their own preferences without your intervention. This link can be hidden from visitors who are not logged in to avoid confusion. When logged in users click on the link, they will be able to set preferences for the functions they have access to. When you create a link to the user form layout, users can set their own preferences without your intervention. This link can be hidden from visitors who are not logged in to avoid confusion. When logged in users click on the link, they will be able to set preferences for the functions they have access to. Joomla is designed so that people can log into the system and make changes. This is done through users. In this movie, we will create a user and assign a password. Let's go to the User Manager. The User Manager lists all the users currently entered into the system. We want to add some more, so let's click New. First, let's enter in Bob Smith. Bob is a content expert, and he's going to help us with some of our editing. In the name field, type in Bob Smith. Next, we need to give Bob a username so that he can log into the website. Type B. Smith here. We also need to enter in Bob's email address so that Bob can reset his password later if he forgets it. Finally, let's enter in his password. It's going to be Lynda, L-Y-N-D-A. Verify that we entered this correctly. Leave group as registered for now. We'll be covering permissions in another video. Now click Save. Let's go back to the front end. We'll use the username we just created to log in to the front end of the website. Type in B. Smith and type in the password. We're now logged in, and we have a logout button if we want to log out. and we've been redirected to the page that we set in the login module in a previous movie. Creating users in Joomla is a quick task. Go to the User Manager, click New, fill in the details, then click Save. Once this is complete, you can log into Joomla with this username. To edit and publish articles on a Joomla-based website, users need to have appropriate permissions. Users can have permissions ranging from only being able to submit content to having complete control over the site. In this video, we will cover the different permission levels and show how they restrict access to different parts of Joomla. Let's go to the User Manager. We created Bob Smith as a user in the system in the previous video. Let's open up his record. Currently, Bob is set as a registered user in the front end. Joomla allows you to give front-end or back-end permissions to your users. Users who are allowed to log into the back-end may also log into the front-end, but people who only have front-end access may not log into the back-end. The first level we could bump Bob up to would be author. The author user permission level would allow Bob to submit articles to the website, but they wouldn't be published, and he wouldn't be able to go back and change them. We would have to go in and approve his articles and publish them to the site. The next permission level we could select would be editor. This would allow Bob to submit articles as well as edit existing content that's on the website. He still would not be able to publish articles, but he would be able to edit them. Finally, we could make Bob a publisher in the front end. This would allow him to publish articles to the website. However, he would still not have back-end access. To give Bob back-end access, we need to give him a level of access that's within the public back-end section. First, let's talk about Super Administrator. As a Super Administrator, Bob would be able to access all of the functions available through the Joomla interface. If we instead set his access level to Administrator, he would be able to do most of the things he would be able to do as a Super Administrator, but he would not be able to add components, templates, or languages to the system. He would not be able to change the global configuration. Also, he would only have access to the global check-in and clean cache tools from the Tools menu. We could set Bob as a manager. Managers still have access to the back end of Joomla, but they are mainly restricted to data that is managed through components. They cannot create users, access the trash, or access other tools. We're going to set Bob as an administrator. This will give him a good amount of access to the website without being able to change the global configuration. Let's click Save. Let's log out and log in as Bob Smith. Bob Smith has access to many of the tools that we had as a Super Administrator, but now the Tools menu is shorter. He doesn't have access to the global configuration, and he can only manage modules and plugins. Assigning permissions in Joomla is easy to do. Although you cannot restrict specific users to certain sections of content, you can restrict the actions of a specific user. Users can edit and publish articles from the front end without back-end access, while Super Administrators can access every function Joomla has to offer. Joomla is designed so that visitors can create their own login for your site. You can use this to collect their email address and provide user-specific features. In this movie, we will enable front-end user registration. Let's go to Site, Global Configuration. At the moment, we're on the System tab here in the middle. This is where we want to be. There's a box beneath for User Settings. Joomla defaults to allow user registration, to allow new user account activation, and to allow users to change their details. It also defaults new users as being a part of the registered group with no special permissions. This is what we want. Let's go to the front end. John Callahan's brother, Jim, is interested in the website and would like to log in, so he's going to create a login. Let's scroll down and click the Create an Account link. He'll enter his name, he'll enter a username that he'll use to log into the website, he'll enter his email address, and then he'll enter a password. We're going to use Lynda, Lynda. He's also going to verify the password to make sure that he typed it correctly. Then he'll click register. Once he clicks register, a message appears at the top of the screen. An email's been sent to his email address with an activation link that he needs to click before he can log into the website. Let's go back to the back end and see what happened. Go to Site, User Manager. We now see Jim as a user on the website, but his account is not enabled. His account will be enabled when he follows the activation link that was sent to his email address. Instead of waiting for him to click the activation link, let's enable him as a user. Click the X. Now let's go back to the front end and log in as Jim. Scroll down, then enter J. Callahan and the password. Then click Login. The login process redirected Jim to the Seasonal Specialties page. We set this in an earlier video. Allowing users to register themselves only takes a minute. Giving them this opportunity will save you time, as you won't have to enter them into the database.